everybody, and happy hump day. You are watching Foul Territory. I am Alanna Rizzo, your host for the next couple of hours, alongside AJ Pierzynski, Erik Kratz, the mainstays of this fair program. Great to be with you boys on this afternoon. Don't forget, everybody, hashtag FT Live. You can buy our merch, support the show and style, foulterritoryshop.com. All right, boys, let's get to it. Let's charge the mound. Are we not charging the mound? I guess we're not. Maybe we don't have the graphic. I'm going to just go with it. Let's talk about Cal Raleigh. Can we? I mean, the man is just breaking records, setting records. I love the fact that he's a switch hitting catcher doing it. Pretty nice company there in terms of besting Mickey Mantle as far as the most home runs, gentlemen, in a season from a switch hitter. And he happens to be a backstop like the two of you. AJ, what's your take on Mr. Raleigh?
I've been saying it for months. He's still my MVP. He won't win because there's a bias, I feel like, because it's Aaron Judge. But I think that maybe hopefully some voters will get fatigued of Aaron Judge, but he's my MVP in the American League, not only because of the way he's hit home runs, he's going to set the all-time record in Seattle. He's done switch hitters record. He's done the catching record, and next is the Mariners record. And if he gets to 60 home runs, I'm sorry, there's no way he should not be MVP because everyone – on here believes, I think, that the Mariners are going to win the AL West, which is a big accomplishment. So I think he should be the AL MVP. There's not enough we can say about Cal Raleigh. Platinum glove, home run record, switch hitter, he does it all. So, and he plays every day. So, yeah.
Kratz, does it matter? I know it sounds silly asking a catcher this question, but the fact that he's doing it, what he's doing as a backstop with all of the responsibilities that go along with that premier position in this game, does it mean even more that he's doing this as a catcher?
Yes. How much more? I have no idea. Like, nobody would deny that it's the hardest position on the field. It is the position that, just looking at sheer numbers, offensively, numbers are way down. This is why guys like AJ Pierzynski are not in the Hall of Fame, because they try to compare catcher numbers to other positions. You need to compare catchers to catchers. The season he is having is historic. It will possibly, in my lifetime, it will not be passed. And it needs to be celebrated. And yes, what he's doing is ridiculous. Just on if Shohei's numbers were better than this last year, but I mean, he didn't have as many home runs as Cal has this year, and you saw he won the MVP at DH. He's doing it behind the dish. This is a ridiculous, it's probably one of the top 5 seasons that I've ever seen in my lifetime.
And yet he's not your MVP. Kratz, explain yourself.
Because in that top 5, Aaron Judge is putting himself above there. It's unfair. It's unfair for Cal. And as a catcher, I should vote for Cal. If I was a voter, I would have to vote the most valuable player. And I think both guys, their team doesn't make the playoffs without him. I think equally, without Aaron Judge, the Yankees do not make it. Without Cal Raleigh, the Mariners do not make it.
AJ, let me ask you this, because I just asked EK if it mattered more because Cal is doing it as a catcher. Does it matter more in terms of the numbers that he's putting up because he's passing the likes of guys like Mickey Mantle, Ken Griffey Jr.? I mean, when you think about those names, and Cal himself, post-game yesterday, says he doesn't belong, AJ, in the conversation of a Mickey Mantle, of a Griffey Jr. I mean, that's pretty unbelievable company. Does it mean more because he's elevated himself even past those greats?
Well, it means more because it's a historical year. That's the biggest thing. And will he do this again? We don't know that. But this is an all-time history-making year, like when Ronald Acuna went 40 and 70, and he beat out Shohei for the Players Award, the Player of the Year, or Hitter of the Year, whatever it was. We had a whole argument about that because of a historical year. This is a historical year, a possible once-in-a-lifetime thing. We're seeing something that no one has ever done in the history of baseball. So that's why he should be rewarded with it. And also, I just think he's so valuable to the Mariners because of his catching. And to be passing guys, Mickey Mantle, Ken Griffey Jr., these are icons of the game of all time. Cal Raleigh deserves a little more credit, and I don't know why he's not getting it.
Unfortunately, I think he's going to be in the conversation for the home runs. When you start looking at like Mickey Mantle's season, that the year that he had the 54 home runs and the years that Ken Griffey had 56 home runs, the two milestones that he's tied and just passed, like you're talking about dudes that I had it pulled up and now I don't. Like Griffey had 1,000 OPS. He had he was hitting 300. He was hitting almost 400 on base percentage. Like the other numbers were as equally dominant as the 56 home runs. Mickey Mantle as the 54 home runs. So he will be in that conversation. He will be, but if you ranked him against those seasons, he would be second place behind those seasons also. And that's we're comparing like golden apples to golden apples here. Like it's not nobody's hating on. I watched some of the responses to some of the things that you guys said yesterday about the MVP debate, and nobody's hating on Cal Raleigh. And people that pick Cal Raleigh, nobody's hating on Aaron Judge. You have to compare two guys that have been historically dominant in one season. Unfortunately, it'd be better if they did it in separate seasons.
Absolutely. And I do think Aaron Judge has more of an opportunity to perhaps repeat this type of season than Cal Raleigh does. I think this is a once-in-a-lifetime season for Cal. Let me ask you this, though, guys. He hit 55 and 56 last night. Only 9 other players in this great game of ours have hit the 60 home run mark. There's still, 10, 11 games left to go. AJ, does Cal hit 60 this year?
I said he was going to hit 60 a long time ago, so I think he's going to get there. I think he figures out a way to get to 60. I don't know if he gets to Aaron Judge's American League record, or was it 62? But I think he can figure out a way to hit 4 more because these games mean something. They're in a pennant race, and he's going to have to play. He's not going to get days off because they're one game ahead for the AL West. So I think he's going to have to play, and he's going to have to perform, and I think he'll do it the last week at home. He'll hit 60 and win the MVP.
I thought he had no shot at hitting 60 unless he goes into Kansas City in the series because it's a large stadium team. The pitchers don't give up a ton of home runs at home there. I thought if he hit 2 this series, he could get there. He freaking hits 2 in his first 3 at-bats last night. So, yeah, I think he's going to get to 60. That is such a crazy number to think about.
It is crazy to think about it, especially from a catcher, guys. What is crazier, though, that fact, I don't know what's going on with my headroom here. I don't know if that's crazier, 60 home runs from a catcher, or the fact that look at the Mariners making it difficult for the Houston Astros. Did we see that coming?
Well, they've won 10 games in a row. Not as bad as they played on the road. But now they've come home and they've won 10 games in a row, and they went east and won a game. So the Mariners are doing it right now, and listen, the Astros are doing everything in their power to stay in this fight, winning the first 2 against the Rangers. But wow, I mean, 10 in a row at this time of year. The only question I ask is, are you peaking too early? Are you peaking too early? Because in baseball, you're always do a little down. Are you peaking too early?
Well, that's just it, right? It's whenever you're playing the best at the right time. That's the difficulty of this game, you guys. That's why in football it seems like, if you have 17, 18 games, it's a lot easier than if you have 162. It doesn't really matter what you're doing in the middle of May. I mean, it does at the end of the day in terms of record and standings and stuff, but you got to be playing good baseball at the right time, and the Mariners kind of seem to be doing that.
Got to be healthy, too. You got to be healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about the last 2 weeks. To me, it's about like guys like last night, Michael King pitching. Like, how does he do in these last 2 weeks? How do guys coming off the IL? We talked about Kyle Tucker coming off the IL. So if your team is healthy, then it kind of matters how you're going into. Like, if you win 15 straight games to finish out the regular season, yeah, I mean, history says those teams rarely go in and go, 2-Q out in the first round. No, they're like, no off days. We'll play somebody on the off day. We don't want anything. Like we're pushing it. And that's how you make a run. I remember we made a run like that with the Royals. We made a run like that with the Brewers. But all that doesn't happen unless you win that one close game here and there to make yourself get that momentum and just ride that all the way into the postseason.
I would love it to see the Mariners obviously win the division, but moreover, guys, go deep into the postseason, right? It's one thing for the Mariners to make the postseason. It's another thing entirely to show them that this year they're actually a complete Mariners team, more so than we've seen in years past, right?
They've never been to a World Series. They got to get to the World Series. That's it. I mean, they've been to the LCS. They've lost. They've been to the playoffs recently. They've lost. They got to make a deep run and get to the World Series because they've never been there. So we don't know, but we've never seen it.
They're more complete. They're more complete, like you said, but they do have to hit. Yeah. And because the pitching isn't what it was last year. Last year, everybody, if they knew if the Mariners got in, whoa, they might win every game 1-0. And it might be a 12 or 13 inning game because their pitching was lockdown nails. This year, they're just a little bit more human.
Yeah, they're a little bit more, I think, human in terms of rotation, but I think they're also more of a complete team. All right, we got a break, but we're excited to have Jim Bowden coming up on the program. We'll be back right after this.
Hey, if you're a card collector or you're looking to collect, buy, sell, trade, Arena Club's the spot. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the old process, AJ, was very clunky. Buy a box, rip the pack, tons of commons, send it in for grading. And then finally, you get everything back. This is weeks and weeks, and you can start to try and sell the card. We have eliminated that with Arena Club, or they have. I act like I'm part of it, but in really one step.
Arena's your one-stop shop for everything. You get a card, you open a slab pack, the card is there, it's graded, it spins around coolly, shows you 3D, the front, the back, you can look at the corners, you can look at everything, and then you get a decision. Do I want to keep it? Do I want to sell it? Do I want to trade it? It gives you an instant offer. You can buy it back and re-rip another slab pack and try for something else, or you can keep it and hope the value goes up and sell it at a later date. It is truly the best spot to get cards.
20% off your first slab pack or card purchase can be had right now at arenaclub.com/FOUL and use code FOUL.
Guys, Trevor Story, he is a thief. He is 30 for 30 now in stolen bases on the year. That's pretty good. Not a single caught stealing. He ties the record for most stolen bags in a season without being caught. And this is a guy that posts plays every day. What's the most impressive thing about that to you, AJ?
Not getting caught, not getting picked off, not trying to get a big jump. None of this. No catcher making a really perfect throw. Like right there, Langoliers makes a really good throw and he's still safe. So this is not only a credit to Trevor Story, this is also a credit to the first base coach. And I forget who the first base coach is in Boston at this point, but they've got something. They know when to go. They pick the right pitches. So this is not only on Trevor Story, this is also on whoever their base running / first base coach is. And that right there was luck because if he tags his ankle, he's out. So, I mean, it's also a lot of luck involved there too.
Part of it. Part of it. Jose Flores is the first base coach. And Kyle Hudson, Huddy, the third base coach, both those dudes, they know stolen bases. Stolen bases, yes, it happens by speed. But it happens because you're picking something up. Whether the catcher sets up differently. A pitcher is a lean guy where, he leans back. He might be a 1-2 on the gun, on the stopwatch to the plate. But when he leans, now all of a sudden he's a 1-5. And you can pick that up. And that's how you get 30 for 30.
Good job, TS10. It is time now for Front Office Unfiltered. We are always privileged and pleased to be joined by our GM, our resident GM, Jim Bowden. Of course, you can follow him on X at Jim Bowden GM, MLB analyst and insider, CBS Sports, of course, The Athletic, MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM. The man is all over the place. And now he is on foul territory. Jim, what are the Mets doing? I tell you what, this has just been such a wild, wild ride. What say you, my friend?
Well, I think they're really happy that Arizona traded away Merrill Kelly and Josh Naylor and Eugenio Suarez at the trade deadline, because that's the only reason today they stand in third place for that last wild card spot. Look, it's going to be a fun race to the end. I mean, who would have thought the New York Mets would be standing here with Senga being optioned out, Minaya going to the bullpen, 3 rookies in the rotation. The ace of the staff is Nolan McLean, who will pitch game 1 if they get in. I mean, I love this mama drama. It's great. And by the way, Arizona, even with losing those 3 guys, they're not going to go away. This team plays with a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. They're playing loose and free. They've got nothing to lose, and it's fun to watch. So I'm glad at least in the National League we have one final race that we can kind of capture over the next couple of weeks.
I don't know if you agree with me, but I would cringe when guys would say, it can't get much worse. Like, we're doing it. Can it get worse for the Mets? I know they've won recently, but I feel like they're getting a lot out of guys they had no expectation of getting out of, and the guys that they're expecting haven't played well.
Well, except, of course, Juan Soto has played extremely well, as you know, here over the last couple of months. But to your point, you're absolutely right. I mean, to sit there and do what they're doing with the rotation the way it is has been interesting, for sure. And their offense has, as you mentioned, been really inconsistent. You haven't gotten a lot from Nimmo or McNeil in the bottom of that lineup. But I think at the end of the day, as we head down to crunch time, I think Lindor, who hit that home run after his wife did a tremendous job on the national anthem, I think Lindor will get hot. He's been really cold for a month. That's not going to stay. So Lindor and Soto and Alonso, even Vientos in the biggest moments here down the end, I think they'll get enough runs. I think it all comes down to their starting pitching. And can the rookie pitchers do the job? I mean, McLean and Sproat have been their 2 best starters, believe it or not. Can Clay Holmes get that sinker working again to get the ground ball outs? Can David Peterson pitch like he did in the first half? That's going to be the key if the Mets get to October.
All right, since we're talking about the races right now, what is the most dominant trait? If you had to pick one, what is the most dominant trait of a team that wins in the postseason? Is it offense for hitting home runs or not striking out? Is it starting pitching? Is it bullpen? Is it strikeouts for pitchers?
I'll go with bullpen and defense at the end of the day. But, I mean, each team could win in a different way, right? I mean, you look at the Dodgers, they finally got their starting pitching healthy. If they're matched up against the Padres, they get a lead early on. And then what are the Dodgers going to do with their rotation? Are they going to put 2 of those guys in the back end of the bullpen to fix that problem at the end? So I think it's all matchups. I think in theory, though, watching October the last couple of years being on the field, I mean, I think bullpen and defense is key. Bullpen depth, especially in those series, I think is the most important. But you need every element. You got to pitch. You got to be able to score runs. You got to be able to catch the ball. You got to be able to run the bases. It's everything. I could never narrow it down to one thing. But when all the teams are matched up and we're getting to Game 7 of most of these series, I look at the bullpen and the defense.
Jim, the Mets are going to get in. They I know that it's 2 games in the loss. It's 3 games because they have the tiebreaker. The Mets are going to get in. As nice as of a story as everyone is in full panic mode up there in Queens, the Mets are in, okay? They're going to get in. There's, 10 games left, 11 games left for some teams. They're going to get in. They're not going to blow a 3-game lead with 10 or 11 to go. I'm calling it now. Sorry, guys. But now what I want to talk about, though, is the American League, okay? Because the American League, the teams seem to be set, the Yankees, Astros, but now the Astros have jumped the Red Sox in the standings, and that, I think, is a bigger deal than people give it credit for, because if I'm the Red Sox, I'd much rather go to New York and play the Yankees than have to travel cross-country and possibly play the Mariners.
I would agree with that, although I think, and first of all, the Mets have a 1.5 lead over Arizona, and I think the Mets are going to get in too, but I think it'll be a race to the end. And in this league, look, I think it's going to be Yankees 1, Red Sox 2, Houston 3. I think Alvarez's injury is huge. I'm really worried about the offense, and I was talking to GM Dana Brown the other day because my initial concern was the rotation after Hunter and Brown, but because Javier and Alexander have pitched so well, that kind of issue went away. And as Dana told me on Sunday, he said, no, we just don't score enough runs. That's my concern. That's before Alvarez sprained his ankle, and I don't think we're going to see him again this year, not even in the postseason. That was a pretty bad high ankle sprain. But are they going to score enough runs? Now, it looks like Isaac Paredes is going to be back for the Seattle series, so that could be huge. And I don't know if Zach Cole is real. I don't know if they're going to find holes or not, but he sure has given them a big lift. This is a very right-handed hitting lineup. That concerns me, down the stretch. That could be a problem. Even Paredes is right-handed. So Zach Cole, Jesus Sanchez become very important left-handed bats in that lineup for Houston. I think Houston's going to get in, but I think the Red Sox will end up as the second wildcard team. But I agree with you, AJ, in terms of who I'd rather play if I'm Boston.
Jim, you're talking about the Houston Astros a little bit, and I know obviously with Yordan Alvarez and the ankle issue, Isaac Paredes perhaps is being rushed up there, but coming off of a hammy injury and not doing any sort of like rehab appearance, I mean, what type of savior are they looking for in terms of Isaac Paredes? And how, I know it seems obvious, but how big of an issue is this Yordan Alvarez thing for the Astros moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge, obviously. If Paredes is down there in the minor leagues taking swings, he looks really good, according to Dana Brown, the general manager. He's going to come up to DH only. They're not expecting him to play in the field. That doesn't mean if they make the playoffs that there may be a time that Paredes ends up at second base with Altuve going to left field. But as of now, their thinking is that he can DH, and they think his legs are going to be good enough to do it, and they think he can provide the power that they need to extend this lineup a little bit. But again, as you know, the top of the lineup, all four of the hitters are all right-handed hitters, and the big boys have to get it done. It's up to Altuve and Correa and Christian Walker to do the damage, but they will miss Alvarez. There is no doubt about it. There's nothing you can do, so it's next man up. So let's have a story, right? I love stories at the end of the year. Let Zach Cole be a story. I mean, the first pitch he saw in the big leagues, he homered to right field. He made a nice play against the wall. He's very athletic. I like the swing. I'm not sure if he can keep it up, but I love these late season unexpected stories. It makes the pennant races a lot more fun, I think.
Mm-hmm. All right, a non-story is Ohtani winning the MVP. So we have to go to the American League since you like stories. Should the MVP in the American League be a story? Because there's a lot of conversation and everybody's visceral hate on either side comes out. What do you say about it, though?
Yeah, I think the conversation's great. I think the discussion's phenomenal. I mean, you're asking my opinion today. I think Aaron Judge is the MVP of the league. But, what Cal Raleigh has done is ridiculous. I mean, passing Mickey Mantle, are you kidding me? For switch hitters, he may end up getting to 60 home runs. Who knows? He might get past Roger Maris. This has been phenomenal. And then I think when you look at what he has done behind the plate, calling a game, framing pitches, blocking balls, shutting down the running game. I mean, to be able to do both of these things as a catcher, I mean, arguably this is, without a doubt, the best season we've ever seen a catcher in the history of Major League Baseball. What we're seeing is phenomenal. And I think what you're going to find is a lot of the writers are going to look past the metrics, look past the algorithms, and they're going to say, hey, you did all that offensively, and you caught, and you hit 60 home runs. I think Raleigh's got a really good chance of getting the votes, because it's votes, right? The writers vote for this, so it's not going to be a formula. So I think he's got a legitimate chance. If I were to give it today, I'd give it to Judge, just because the numbers he's putting up are just ridiculous.
They are, but Cal Raleigh's the MVP. Sorry, Jim. I know.
No, I know. I look, I don't think there's a catcher that ever caught in the history of life that isn't thinking Raleigh's the MVP, and I get it. Makes sense. I get it. All rise.
Okay, that's fine. We all have our opinions. Some people are wrong. Some people are right. We'll find out at the end when the writers vote. I'm going to have to slip some of these guys a nickel when I see them just to try to help me out here, okay? We all know. But, all right, so I wanted to talk about this. The Twins, I played for the Twins a long time ago. I was drafted by the Twins, signed with the Twins. They've gotten rid of all their scouts. How can they do drafts and pro scouting and all this stuff if you don't have any scouts out there actually watching players? I know the video is good now and you can put metrics on everything and this and that, but don't you at the end of the day want to see a guy, how they perform under pressure, how their mom and dad are, how their girlfriend breaks up with them, can they still play? Things like that a videotape can't measure?
Yeah, they did not give up all of their scouts. They did not touch their amateur scouting department. All the amateur scouts are still employed. What they did was, like a lot of teams, they decided to eliminate their pro scouts, which consisted of 4 people. And the 4 people didn't go to games. They weren't at the ballpark meeting players, talking to families. They weren't doing any makeup or character or heart. They were just sitting at home watching games on TV and giving opinions. And that you don't need that anymore, right? There's enough good minds that are watching every single game. The analytic departments are breaking all that down. The video guys all have that taken care of. You don't need 4 people to tell you something you already know. What is the most important is exactly what you said, AJ. These aren't robots. These are human beings. And you win with people. You win with who do you want at the plate with the game on the line? Who's that guy you want? That's character. That's intestinal fortitude. And the only way you get that is to know the people. And so we are never going to lose the value of scouts. And the value of scouts, it's not as important to measure, the 5 tools of a player anymore. We can measure all of that. We don't need to dissect the swing in person. We can do that on video now. But the human element is how you decide, right? I mean, if you want to look at Kyle Schwarber as an example, it's not just the 50 to 60 homers he hits. It's his makeup, his character, his leadership, the kind of teammate he is, how he makes everyone around him better. There's no one that's going to catch all that on video. You have to be there. You have to hear him, see him, talk to his teammates, talk to his manager, talk to everybody that's around him to get that. So to your point, just to be clear, the Twins did fire 4 professional scouts, but they did not fire the amateur scouts.
But you were a GM at middle and small markets. Isn't that the case where those teams should be having more people so they can get more value around the edges in those cases where they're able to talk to people and have people boots on the ground at a pro game to see how somebody's moving in the field to be able to get that little extra advantage?
Absolutely. The amateur scouts are doing that. The amateur scouts aren't just doing the June draft. They're also scouting the Midwest League, the Carolina League, the Florida State League. They have boots on the ground. They're not just doing this from an office and watching video of those games. They are there. The 4 guys that were fired, which they called the pro scouting department, literally was just watching major league games on video. And nowadays, you just don't need that.
Jim, let me ask you this about the American League East and particularly the Toronto Blue Jays. Are the Blue Jays for real? If they are, how far can they go? And in your opinion, why won't Schneider win Manager of the Year?
Okay, so yes, Toronto can go all the way. You look at their starting pitching and you look at how they're pitching now. Kevin Gausman's last 5 starts, it's a 1.80 ERA. Shane Bieber's last 5 starts, 3.70 ERA. Bass's last 5 starts, 2.3 ERA. And they bring up Trey Savage, who looks nasty, nasty, nasty. I didn't even mention Max Scherzer, Jose Barrios. George Springer is the player we covered when he won world championships with Houston. Vladdy Daddy is playing like he's completely worth the $500 million they gave him. And look, this team is one of the elite defensive teams in baseball. They have the best defensive outfield in the sport. They have plus defenders all over the field. I think Bichette, the shortstop, was the only below average defender on the field. That's huge. Hoffman, relatively speaking, has done the job as the closer for them. So they mix and match well. They do a good job of platooning their players with left-rights. So, yeah, I think they're missing Bichette's bat, right? I mean, he's one of their best hitters. But there's a good chance that he is back for the postseason. So, I look at the American League. I don't think there's a great team. And in fact, I would take probably 4 National League teams over all the teams in the American League. But when I look at Toronto, Yankees, Red Sox, Mariners, Astros, Tigers, I don't look at any of them and say, oh, this is the best team. They're going to the World Series. So my answer to that is yes. My second answer on Schneider is, I wrote an article predicting awards in The Athletic, and I had Schneider finishing second. So I have great respect for what he's done. Of all the managers, I had him second out of 15 this year. I had A.J. Hinch winning Manager of the Year, and the reason I had him slightly over Schneider, and I mean slightly, is I just think the job he has done with that bullpen has been ridiculous. He's just so good at matchups. He's the best, one of the best in the game at doing that. And then to watch the platooning that he did with that Tiger team, the way he uses guys like Kerry Carpenter, I mean, he just has a great feel for that. Even pinch hitting. I mean, no one's had more success pinch hitting this year than the Detroit Tigers. AJ just has that great sense. I don't think AJ has as good a team as Schneider has with Toronto, but I think he's been more important to the Tigers than Schneider has been to Toronto by a little bit. Again, I had Schneider second, so I respect what he's done. He's done a great job.
What's the process of trying to figure out, if you're the GM of the Blue Jays, if Trey Savage is going to be on your playoff roster? Because he didn't just come up to the big leagues and go, oh, I'm throwing from this ridiculous arm angle, downhill plane, splitter. He looked nasty in his minor league starts. So how do you make that decision saying, okay, he's probably not fitting into our rotation because our rotation is already pretty nasty, but how can he not get us outs in the playoffs?
Yeah, he pitches game 4 for me. I haven't seen a delivery with that kind of angle since Diego Segui with the Red Sox way back in the day. Look, Gosman, Bieber, Bassett, and Savage is what I want. I want to see if Mighty Max will go to the back end of the bullpen with me. I'll let Barrios kind of be a guy that can go long if one of the starters start to falter, because we know Schneider's going to have a quick hook because he always does. But Savage, from what I saw, it's like McClain of the Mets. Why not? I don't care that they haven't been to the big leagues a long time. I just want outs. Who's going to give me the best chance to get outs? And Savage, to me, yeah, he's one of the top 4 guys for Toronto. Love what I've seen. So if I were a GM and I was talking to John Schneider, that would be my thoughts and my recommendation.
Jim, all I want to know is, where did you get that? Which LV outlet did you get that snazzy jacket, and can I borrow it?
You definitely can borrow it, without a doubt. It'll be way too big for you, but yes, you can borrow it anytime you want. And present from my wife at the holidays last year.
Very nice. Louis Vuitton. I'm digging it. Jim Bowden, we appreciate you very much. As always, Front Office Unfiltered. Much more to come on Foul Territory. We're going to be diving into Houston, claiming the second wild card spot, guys. We'll be right back. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Kratz, I'm going to steal a line right from the top here about MeUndies. A cut for every butt. I took a line that I feel like you would enjoy, but then you stole my thunder with show and tell. What do you have there?
Besides a huge Baduka dunk, this is my pair of MeUndies that I got. I'm not going to show you the other pair right now because I got them on, but it doesn't even feel like you have them on. Super soft, flexible, and yet holding everything together.
I love the 20 different styles, 100 different colors and prints, and the micro-modal fabric is what you're talking about. Breathable, stretchy, unbelievably cozy. And right now, as a listener of FT, you can get cozy and spooky for less with deals up to 50% off at MeUndies.com/foul and enter promo code FOUL. That's MeUndies.com/foul, promo code FOUL for up to 50% off. MeUndies. Comfort that's made for fall.
Guys, Jim Bowden just talked about it for a hot second there. It doesn't look like Bichette will be back for the regular season. We knew that, but he could very much be back for the postseason. This from Mitch Bannon. His second opinion didn't show anything new, confirmed the sprained PCL. Blue Jays hope he can start ramping up later this week to be back as soon as possible. AJ, what void does this create?
A big void. Offensively, it's a big offensive void. I think defensively with Jimenez, they can cover it. But I think offensively, in the presence he brings, hitting in the middle of that lineup, getting on base, getting big hits, and just Bichette. I mean, he just has a thing about him. So hopefully he can get back for the postseason. We'll see, but he better get some at-bats before then because he needs to be ready to go once they jump into that ALDS.
Kratz, is this team this year better prepared to cover this type of void this season versus in seasons past, you think?
I mean, just because they went out and spent a lot of money in a trade on Andrés Giménez. I mean, they covered Miles Straw's contract from the Guardians, and they're paying Andrés Giménez a lot of money because he can play shortstop at a big league level. And he hasn't played for a while, but that's what he came up as. So, yes, they can cover it.
All right, better than box scores next. AJ, you said it before that the fact that Houston kind of superseded, or maybe it was Erik, I can't remember, I'm sorry, but Houston's in that second wild card spot now is my point. That's a pretty big deal. Why do you think this is a big deal?
Well, because if you're Boston, you don't want to have to go to Seattle.
Right.
If you're in Boston, you have to go to Seattle now, and that's a long flight. So at the end of the season, you're packing up and you're going to Seattle, and then you're possibly going wherever the next round, if you win that round, takes you, which would be Detroit. So you're leaving again for another week plus. So I think this is a bigger deal for them. Houston's used to going to Seattle. If they have to play Seattle, they know Seattle well. But for Boston, listen, Yankee Stadium is right there. They can take the train or fly, however they want to do it. It's just an easier thing for everybody. You just don't want to have – a lot of people – we talk about the Seattle travel all the time. A lot of people don't want to have to go to Seattle. It's just far. It's really far. It's a beautiful city, but it's so far.
It is. And the greatest sushi restaurant, Japanesa. If you know, you know. Erik Kratz, the winner of Wednesday's game between the Astros and the Rangers, takes the season series. They will hold any tiebreakers if the clubs finish with the same record. There's a lot riding on today's game.
There is a lot if we want to continue that storyline. But if the Rangers don't win, I don't care if they would have had the season series after that anyway. They would be out. This is a must-win, have to have it. Everybody talks about must-wins. This is the must-win.
The Astros held off a 3-run eighth inning. Brian Abreu gets the 4-out save despite letting up 3 hits. It's touch and go, though, every time, though, I feel, with the Astros when it comes to that bullpen. Obviously, you're only as good as your bullpen is in the postseason, I feel. It's pitching, it's defense. You guys know that better than anybody. Josh Hader's on the IL. That's problematic, is it not?
Their whole team seems like has been banged up the whole year. Everything is problematic. And last night they were up 6-0, 6-1. And then all of a sudden, De Los Santos has been really good for them, gives up a bunch of runs, and they had to get Abreu in there to close it down after giving up some knocks. But it was not an easy save. It's a 4-out save. It'd be interesting to see who they have available for today's game, and they're facing DeGrom today. So, listen, I give credit to Alexander the first game and Gordon last night. They pitched really well. Unheralded guys that have done a great job for the Astros this whole season, really. So they deserve a lot of credit. Javier's pitching today. He's been better lately, but DeGrom against Javier, that seems like should be the Rangers game to take, and they have to win this or their season's over.
You would think that. Astros GM Dana Brown, guys, said that the team received good news on Yordan Alvarez's MRI, no fracture. That's a positive. They will know more in a couple of days. In a couple of days. We're running out of time here. So I guess that's good news, no fracture. But, it's still got to be, I would imagine, quite sore. Is this something you just shoot the guy up and say, get out there, kid? Go get him, Russ?
Not for an entire postseason, no. Look at what the Dodgers had to do with Freddie last year.
Yeah.
I saw a side-by-side of Freddie's rolled ankle and Yordan's rolled ankle. It almost looks identical. Obviously different. I think it's different foot, but the depth of that roll, the high ankle sprain, I guess they're calling it, he's going to be in pain. Shooting it up, though, I don't know. The Astros are very, very cautious about any injuries. We'll see how cautious they are, especially if Isaac Paredes comes back. You can't be like, hey, Yordan, you're going to DH, and Paredes, you're going to DH. So that's the issue that they're going to run into, and they need the offense. They need a left-handed bat in there. I think Yordan is fine, just coming back out off of injuries, not needing to rehab. I think his game or his swing is that good, but man, you can't have 2 guys that have to both DH, and then you got to plug one in if they're going to play. So this is concerning for the Astros.
And what the Astros are doing without the services of Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman is stupid. It's still amazing to me that they're always where they are. This team just reloads every single year. There is a Kyle Tucker update, a Chicago Cub Kyle Tucker update. He is traveling to Tampa this morning with a member of Chicago's medical staff, Cubs manager Craig Counsell has said, to seek additional outside treatment for a calf injury that has plateaued. Tucker is expected to rejoin the team next week in Chicago. Guys, obviously the Cubs have a strong hold on the NL wild card spot, that top spot there behind the NL Central winning Milwaukee Brewers. But if it's plateaued, I guess you can't hurt it any further. It doesn't get any better. I mean, AJ, what do you take away from this update on Tucker?
I've never heard of an injury plateauing. Does that mean it's at the top and then it's going to go down? Or I don't know. It's going to stay the same.
I don't know.
But calves are like hamstrings for me. When you hurt a calf, everyone comes back from it, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm good," and then they always hurt it like the first game or two back, and then they're out longer. So you got to be careful with these. Hamstrings are the same way. Every guy seemed like that pulled a hamstring. They go to rehab and they run their little cone drills out there, and then the game starts and boom. Then the first game or two, the same thing. They always seem like they re-pulled it. Now that's not every time, but it just seemed like it. Okay, and the calves are the same way. Guys I saw that pulled calves eventually hurt it again for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know what this means, but if he's supposed to be back next week, good on Kyle Tucker, because the Cubs are going to need him in the postseason.
Yeah, you can't have success for the Cubs if you don't have Kyle Tucker. That's it. I mean, Cubs fans might get at me for that, but they are offensively, they are not the apex offensive club that they were earlier this year. They're just not, and they need Kyle Tucker to be that guy for them. I know they scored 4 runs today in their first inning, but look, you have to. That is what will carry this team, because I don't think their pitching has enough depth.
What do you think is more problematic? And this might seem silly, but the Chicago Cubs without the services of Kyle Tucker moving forward, or the Houston Astros without the services of Yordan Alvarez moving forward?
The Cubs, because Alvarez has been out basically the whole year. So the Astros have done this, been there, done this. And also, I think the American League is easier than the National League. So I'll say it too. And the Astros, you can ask, we've asked people all day, how are the Astros doing it? Everyone keeps not giving them credit, but they're getting it done somehow, some way. They don't score enough runs. Their pitching isn't good enough. Their bullpen isn't good enough. But here they are, going to get to the postseason again somehow, some way. And I wouldn't bet against them in the postseason with all their experience. So I think to me it's Tucker, because Alvarez has been out pretty much the whole year.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, you guys are probably right. I mean, he has been gone. They've been there, done this, but they're still battling for a wild card spot, guys, at the end of a season where I guess they did it a little bit, in years past where they were kind of battling for a wild card spot or winning the division. Yeah.
Was it 2 years ago? 2 years ago when they had to win. 2 years
ago was when they
Seattle. That was the Alex Bregman, we'll never know thing.
We'll never know.
Where the Rangers got in because the Astros. I mean, they were battling for their life. They've been through this before. Remember in 2020 in COVID, they were 30-30 and got to and almost came back from down 3-0 against the Rays in the ALCS out in San Diego. So the Astros have had their backs against the wall. That's the one thing about the Astros I don't feel like we don't need to worry about is like they figured out, like they went into this series, remember, against the Rangers, and everyone's like, oh, the Rangers, and they go out and win the first 2 games. And you're like, oh, all right, everyone take a deep breath here for a minute, because they have a 2-game lead over the Guardians right now. I don't know who has the wild card or the tiebreaker, but yeah, I don't know who has that, but I feel like they're going to get in.
They just know how to win, and nobody can argue with that. They can argue with how you win, but that organization in the minor leagues, they promote, yes, all the metrics and being the best hard-hitting, don't strike out, zone control hitters. But they also put an ownership on winning in the minor leagues, and they expect their teams to win to a certain extent. And I think that just permeates through the organization. Like there's a expectation that when Correa left, Pena was going to step in to be the leader of this team. Oh, now they got Correa back after they lost one of their biggest leaders in Alex Bregman. Like there's just an expectation of winning there. And I think when you raise that level of expectation, like some organizations don't, and you have good players, that's how you're always in it, and you can't be counted out.
Yeah, the Astros have a blueprint of winning. They've done it a billion times. It's a well-run organization. All right, coming up next, Miami Marlins, Jakob Marsee joining the program. Stay with us as Foul Territory rolls on. We'll be right back. a little bit about the New York Metropolitans, shall we? Because goodness knows we don't talk about the Mets enough. So Ken released a column. That's Ken Rosenthal, of course, releasing a column this morning. The Mets kept a passing lane open in the race for the National League's final wild card spot. Will any team take it? Kratz, I ask you that. AJ says they're in.
No. I mean, we would have to have a Alanna Rizzo's Rockies type of
No.
end of the season. You need another home. You need another homer team. But
I do. The Red Sox are my homer team now.
Okay. From the Diamondbacks, you'd have to have a historic. What did the Rockies win? 19 of 21 to get in, and then they
21
ran
of
through.
21 of 22.
See, I knew my homer would. Thank you, Homer.
I was there.
But
you're welcome.
That is what they're going to need, because I think the Mets have started to figure out how to score runs again, and they're going to play some 7-5 games, some 8-6 games, but it's just so much to make up. I get it, it's a game and a half. The Diamondbacks can't lose more than 3 games for the rest of the season, which is a really, really tall task. I don't care who they're playing, when they're playing them.
But AJ, look at this. Look no further to the poor play of the Mets for the past 3 months. They're 33-49 since their 45-24 start. That is the worst record over that span, even worse than the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Chicago White Sox, who you know intimately, and all but 3 other clubs. That's the only reason these 3 pursuers are even getting a sniff. They had lost 8 straight before winning the last of their 3-game series against the Rangers. I mean, there's a lot of reason that they're in this position right now. They had
they've done it to themselves. They've done it, but also, listen, we're like, we're enamored with the Diamondbacks. They're 77-75. Okay. The Mets have done this to themselves. They're 3 games up. I don't care. Jim Bowden tried to correct me. They're 1.5. Actually, they're 2. I always look at the loss column. They're 2 back because you can't make the losses up. Okay, so they're 2 back in the loss column plus the tiebreaker. That's 3. And by the way, the Guardians have the tiebreaker over the Astros, which is a big deal because if they end up tied, the Guardians get in over them. So that actually is a big deal. But the Mets are in. I'm sorry, unless something unless they lose 8 games in a row, the Mets are going to get in.
They did that.
But man, the fact that we're still even talking about this is ridiculous.
Right. They did it to themselves.
They have no starting pitching. No starting pitching.
All right, Jakob Marsee, kind enough to join us now of the Miami Marlins. We always appreciate getting players here on Foul Territory. Jakob, thanks for taking the time. We appreciate it very much. How are things going?
They're good. Thank you guys for having me.
Of course. So you guys beat Colorado last night. You hit an RBI double in the 3rd to extend the lead to 3-0. I mean, this is something that I can appreciate both about you guys, obviously, and the Rockies. Neither team, things going the way that you guys wanted to, obviously. But the players themselves are still incredibly competitive, and you're out there trying to win. What do you take to the field every single day in terms of that mindset?
Yeah, I mean, it's a long year, and obviously we had a stretch where it wasn't going as we wanted it to, but at the end of the day, we're still trying to win games and do everything we can to win. And I mean, you saw last night we were up big, and they came back and battled back, and just a competitive game, and we just want to win every game. So whether that's leading us to anything this year or just going into next year.
All right. So how much is that talked about? What is that conversation like? I was fortunate every time I was on a bad big league team or a team that wasn't in the playoffs, they fired me. They sent me home. So I got to play more I got to be on the teams that were making pushes for the playoffs. What is that conversation like day in and day out for you guys? That's a very young crew, in my opinion, you guys are beating expectations, but you guys are doing it a different way than I thought you would do it because your pitching is really good. You guys are also hitting. So what is that conversation like day in and day out for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, at times it's a little bit tough just because of the fact that we want to win and we're young, but we try not to use that as an excuse. But at the same time, we do have some growing pains with that. But I think it's just leaning on each other every day, working hard to get better, and then just taking care of business when it goes to the field and trying to win every game and do everything we can to compete, and the rest will take care of itself.
You say growing pains. Can you explain growing pains? Like when you're young, you don't know that you're young. When you're inexperienced, you don't know that you're inexperienced. Like maybe you can tell me differently, but has there been a situation in the big leagues where you're like, shoot, I didn't know that those guys were going to be doing that? Like you've played a lot of baseball and you've had a lot of success, as everybody that's gotten called up has. Is there a moment where you're like, ooh, yeah, we're a little inexperienced in that sense that you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes it's just like for me personally, I'm super aggressive on the base pass, and we have some other guys that are too. So just learning situations that you shouldn't go in and that you should go in, and just little things like that that you can learn and grow from each and every day. That if you want to win every single game, that you have to take care of.
Jacob, talking about being young, why are you wearing number 87? Can we not get you a better number? I mean, I'm assuming you're a Lions fan, so maybe you're a Sam Laporta fan, but why are you wearing 87? Like, can we not get you a number that's not a wide receiver or tight end?
Yeah, I'm actually not a Lions fan. I'm a Bears fan, which not
Oh,
much
all
better,
right. Well, I
but
like you so
yeah,
much better now. Thank you. Even though the Bears are
yeah,
terrible. And they just lost
yeah,
52 to 21 against the Lions, so I apologize.
yeah, they're brutal, but no, honestly, I think it was my spring training number. I was hurt the whole time in spring, so I don't really know, but it was in my locker when I got here, and as long as they gave me one, I didn't really care.
All right, that's fair. But how good do you have to be until you ask for one? Like, at what point do you go to next spring and say, "Look, man, I don't know who the clubhouse guy is in Miami, but do you go in after the season ends and after the season you're having, and you're like, hey, yo, bro, like 87's not working. Can I at least get like an 8 or a 7, but separate them?"
Yeah, I don't know. I've gotten asked that a lot. I mean, maybe it'll be a conversation this offseason that is had, but as of right now, I mean, that's been a big question in a lot of interviews I've had and just people around the clubhouse.
All right, Jacob, two-part question. One a silly one and one a serious one. You're in Miami, so a rite of passage is in Miami is drinking café cubano. And I know that when they have the cafecito, the little espresso cups for all the visiting clubhouses, have you started drinking Cuban coffee yet in Miami? Because that's huge. And what's your favorite Cuban food?
Oh, geez, two question. Yeah, honestly, I haven't drank Cuban coffee yet,
What?
and no, I have not. I didn't even know what that was until you just said that. Um, and then Cuban food. I don't really know what my favorite is yet. I still haven't really gotten out to enough restaurants or anything around to really dive in. I mean, I've had a lot of family and stuff in town when I've been at home, so haven't been out too much. That's definitely something I need to go do.
Yeah, I tell you what, your clubhouse, your clubby better get you on some Cuban coffee because you need to know what I'm Cuban. I'm born and raised in Colorado, but spent every summer in Miami. We got to get you on the Cuban coffee. All right, you work a ton of walks, Jacob. On 3-2 counts, more walks than he has in terms of that you have in ABs in a full count. So let's talk about that for a hot second. That gives you a 946 OPS on full counts, higher than Kyle Schwarber, higher than Cal Raleigh. Two guys that are having unbelievable years. What is it about you, patience at the plate, working your counts, not swinging at pitches that are outside of the zone, or not swinging at pitches that you don't feel comfortable with? Tell us about. I mean, at a young age, that type of patience at the plate is pretty key. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something I've leaned on, definitely coming up through the minors and stuff, and then as I've gotten here. But I mean, people think I'm passive and trying to work walks, but at the same, like I'm really not. I'm just trying to get a good pitch to hit, and then I think with two strikes, I think I sometimes get a little bit more disciplined, which helps too. Just especially in counts like that where I know they're trying to get me to chase and stuff, and I'm really not trying to walk. I'm up there trying to get a good pitch to hit, and um, they got to make three of those before three pitches on the corners before um, four balls. So at the end of the day, I'm just trying to get good pitches to hit, and whatever comes comes.
That's an elite approach. I wish I could have done that, but I never could. So stick with it. Screw what everybody else says. And secondly, Cuban coffee is just a bunch of sugar, thick, and it is like it will keep you awake for like 9 years if you watch them make it.
Put the Cuban back on. Put the Cuban back on with him. First of all, it's not sugar. It is
There's a lot of sugar in it.
If you make it with a lot of sugar, but it is, I will say, it is absolute gasoline. It will keep you up. It's a little bit of coffee, but it packs a punch. It packs a punch, Jacob. Don't let the white guy tell you. Listen to the Cuban, okay?
I don't really know if I want to drink that before the game if I'm going to be up all night then.
I played more games in Miami than Alanna did. So the Cuban coffee that they made in there, I just watched them stir all the sugar into the bottom of this like pot. Anyway, you don't need coffee. You're too young. You don't need to be drinking too much of that anyway right now. But since you've been in the big leagues, who's the most impressive player that you've seen? When you look across the field, maybe it's on your team. Maybe it's Xavier Edwards, my old teammate from Team USA. Don't say Xavier because he's not that impressive. He's tiny and he just runs a lot. But who is the most impressive player that you've seen that you're like, well, bro, I'm in the big leagues and I just saw Aaron Judge in my debut?
I mean, there's a lot of them. I think two of the ones that stick out big time are one, Kyle Schwarber, just what he's doing this year, and just being able to see that live was pretty cool. Just didn't really give in to pitches, and then when he hits them, it's all 115 every single time. So seeing and hearing that was cool. And then Jose Ramirez, I think just his ability at the plate, literally do everything. He was super impressive to watch. Aaron Judge wasn't there when I debuted, so I wasn't able to see that. So that kind of sucked a little bit, but yeah, those two guys for sure.
All right. You hit better again. Your numbers right now are better against lefties. We talk about it all the time. Platoons in the league, there's platoon advantage. You have a reverse platoon split right now. Is that something that you facing lefties helps you against righties, or do you feel like that is completely separate?
Yeah, I think sometimes I've told people that when I face a lefty and I haven't been feeling as good, that sometimes a lefty makes my mechanics have to be kind of correct so that I can get to pitches. So I definitely think it helps. And yeah, I think sometimes when I'm going bad and I face a lefty, it sometimes gets me back on track.
Jacob, at what point in your career did you realize that you had made it? And I'm not talking about obviously when you made your debut or whatever, but at what point coming up did you realize that you had stuff that was good enough to A, get to the big league level, but also to stay there?
I think it was probably my first full year going from I just high in Double A. I had a pretty good year overall, and then I went to the fall league after that, and just all of the top prospects in the game were there at the time. So just being able to have a good year against everyone in that year, and then at the same time being able to have a good performance in the fall league and play pretty well against some guys that have been pitching in the big leagues there too, which definitely gave me a lot of confidence moving forward.
All right. As a rookie, obviously you got to sing on the bus. I always ask guys, what song did they sing, or have you or will you sing on the bus? And who's in charge of the mic for the Marlins? When you guys go on road trips, who's in charge of the mic?
Lately it's been Kyle Stowers. It was Cal Quantrill, and then after the Braves picked him up, then we had Kyle take over, and he's been doing a pretty good job lately. And I sang "Ain't No Mountain High Enough." I was trying to think of a song that could just get the guys into it, and hopefully not be as bad, just because I'm not a great singer. But yeah.
Jacob, cool. You guys are in. I just talked over AJ. Sorry about that. You guys are in Denver right now, right? You're at the hotel in Denver. Are you a breakfast guy?
Yeah.
All right. Go to Snooze. If you're not going to drink Cuban coffee in Miami, I implore you to go to Snooze at Union Station and get the corned beef hash. Okay? If you do nothing
Okay.
else while you're in Denver other than beat the Rockies, I implore you to go to snooze. AJ, you can now go.
Hey, when you grew up, so we have something in common. So you're from Dearborn. I spent a lot of time in Dearborn, including 9/11, which just passed, and you were born, I saw, in 2001. So we were kind of close to each other, I'm assuming. But I want to know this: how many hours did you spend in that Dearborn Mall that was there at Dearborn, Michigan? Because I spent a lot of hours. We used to stay right there. There used to be a Ritz across the street. We went to the Benihana, and there was a Fridays, because back then that was all we had was the Fridays and the Benihana. But then they also had one shop, and I want to know if you ever went in. They had a suit shop. You're probably too young, but maybe your parents went there. It was like 3 suits for $39 or something, and they were some of the coolest suits that I could never pull off in my life. So have you been to the mall at Dearborn, and have you seen this store I'm talking about?
I have not seen that store, but I might have to go check it out now if it's still there. But
Oh,
I've definitely
man.
been to that mall. I know that exact area you're talking about.
Yeah, so we were in the Hyatt. Was it the Hyatt across the had the circle thing at the top for 9/11? So
Yeah.
we spent like 10 days there, 12 days there because we couldn't go anywhere. So we were just stuck there. And the mall finally opened, so at least we could go to the mall every night. But yeah, and then we used to go to the Henry Ford Museum across the street, and there was a big gym we'd go to right there. So I spent a lot of time in your hometown. And then when we were driving into the stadium, they had the big tire, the giant tire. I don't know what the hell they had.
Yeah,
Like
the
the
big
world's
tie.
largest
Yeah.
tire. Yeah, see? So, I
Yeah.
mean, listen, I know about Detroit now, but I'm proud of you for being a Bears fan.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad was a Walter Payton fan, so I'm glad I'm a Bears fan too, except right now the Lions are kind of beating them every single time, so that doesn't help.
Did you play football? Because the size of your neck looks like you could actually be a freaking tight end. Like 87 suits you. Did you play football coming up, or were you always a baseball kid?
I mean, I don't know if I could be a tight end, but I don't know if I'm big enough for that. But yeah, I played football in high school and growing up.
What do you do on the off days? What does an off day look like for you?
I mean, I guess it depends where we're at. Like we just had an off day here, and I actually had a friend that's out here, so um, went out and just kind of explored a little bit. We went to the Red Rocks, and then went up in the mountains a little bit and got some food. So definitely, just if I'm in a new city, I try to go explore and do stuff, and then if I'm back in Miami or stuff, just kind of try to take care of things like laundry and just stuff like that, so I can be ready going forward. But I definitely try to go explore as much as I can, especially on off days, just so you have a little more time.
When you say explore, like, are you talking like you want to go on hikes? Because ain't nobody hiking in Miami. They're sweating down there. Do you like? I mean, is there a video game that, like, a store that you always go to in every city? Some type of food? Because you said you haven't eaten Cuban food. So do you like? What's your favorite food?
I'm a big breakfast guy, so I definitely like to go to breakfast spots, and then at the same time, always get a good dinner, usually steak somewhere. So definitely a foodie when it comes to going to places, but at the same time, like we've had time off in New York and then here too. So just like um, there's a bunch of stuff to do in New York, so just um, doing stuff like that, just stuff that's only in New York or here, just being around the mountains. Just I didn't really hike, but just going and seeing that stuff, I think super cool.
All right, I know you haven't been in the big leagues very long, but it's always interesting to hear what big league players want or think is the best team in the big leagues. Who do you think is going to represent the American League and the National League in the World Series?
Oh dang. Um, the Blue Jays are super impressive. Just pitching staff, and then obviously super good offense. So think they're definitely. Uh, I think they're really good. And then National League, I don't know. I feel like there's so many teams that are competitive. Um, but maybe the Phillies. Yeah. I mean, shoot, hopefully us one day.
Yeah, just not this year.
Uh,
That's fair.
Only can go up
Yeah.
from here, Jacob. We
The Marlins
appreciate it.
have won 2 World Series. It's more than almost any other team can say in the last 30 years. They've won 2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
Got to get back to the winning ways. I don't know who needs it more in terms of back to the World Series for the Marlins or back to the Super Bowl for the Dolphins. My whole family lives in Miami. We'll have that discussion at a different time.
The Bears. We need back to the Super Bowl for the Bears.
Yeah, well, I'm a Broncos fan. They should be 2-0.
Sorry,
but
Dolphins fans.
Yeah. All right, Jacob, we appreciate it. Go get snooze. Go get some Cuban coffee. Best of luck the rest of the way. Good health. And we look forward to watching your career, my friend. Thanks for coming on Foul.
No problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Jacob, we appreciate it very much. Coming up next is Shohei Ohtani going to the Dodgers outfield. We'll be back to discuss. Do you guys have any idea what happened on this play? Because I certainly do not. After the Blue Jays challenged what apparently was fan interference on this home run, the umpires ruled that it was fan interference, but that it would have been a home run anyway. What was going on here? Can someone explain this to me?
No. I can't explain it. I can't explain it because they said, yes, it was fan interference. And I don't know what the rule is. I don't know what the rule is. The fan interfered from Lucas catching the ball, but so why is that not fan interference and it not be considered an out or it not be considered at least just a double and they had to go back because it was fan? Did they have conclusive evidence that they could say, yes, he interfered, but we can't call it? I'm not sure why Laz Diaz said that when he got the call back from New York.
I don't know. I thought double.
Nobody knows. That's why we need the microphone in the thing where we can listen to, they did in football the other day, where you could actually listen to what they were saying back and forth between the people. I don't know why we can't have that. I don't understand why that's such a big deal, because we might catch someone sleeping, one of the umpires sleeping in New York. I got to wake up and actually pay attention. I don't know why we can't have that in today's world, why we can't put that on the screen.
Wasn't that the whole point of getting them mic'd anyway? Is so the fans in the stands can have a sense of what's going on, so you're not just sitting there waiting, wondering?
But then they don't even have a conversation. The guys who made the call in the field don't even have a conversation with the people in New York. It turns on. They say it's being reviewed. It turns off. They stand there and they're looking at the replay on the board just like we're looking at it.
So I don't know. What are we doing, LA?
Are we going to practice? Are we going to practice in the outfit, or are we just going to throw him out there in the playoffs after not ever practicing in a game? I mean, it's almost like Shohei does whatever he wants. Oh, I'm going to start today.
He definitely does whatever he wants.
But it's don't you want to practice a little bit out there? I would think you'd want to practice, and maybe, hey, if you're going to pitch out of the bullpen, Shohei, we have 10 games left. You might want to practice it before you do it because your warm-up routine is really long. Oh, yeah, and also if you're going to play the outfield, we might like to see you catch a fly ball or two before. I don't know.
He's never done either.
By the way, they were talking about this last night. I was watching the Dodger game last night, and they were talking about this rule, and they were like, oh, they need to change the rule before the playoffs so that Shohei gets to pitch in the playoffs as a reliever. I'm like, we just can't change rules all the time because Shohei, they already made one rule for him. We can't just change rules of baseball for one guy forever. The rules are the rules. That? Stick with it.
Who said that?
I don't know who said it.
But the league will.
I don't know what. I don't know if it was on it was on some broadcast, but they were like, Andrew Friedman came out and said they need to change this rule because Shohei might not be able to pitch in the postseason. Well, I'm sure Andrew Friedman, there's a lot of rules you'd like to change to help your team win and your team only.
Did Andrew really say that? We don't know.
I don't know. That's what somebody quoted him as saying. It was on a broadcast. I don't know what broadcast I was watching.
I don't know.
He's never done either. He's never done either. Sorry, Alanna. What has to be reiterated, he's never come out of the bullpen. Clayton Kershaw has come out of the bullpen in the postseason in big games. So Clayton Kershaw is a future lock Hall of Famer, and he has done it. He may be more comfortable doing it. like to say that Shohei's just going to all of a sudden come out of the bullpen, all of a sudden go chase down fly balls. Is there anybody in the game that I would say could do it without any practice? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I feel like maybe this is the time when you're not going to catch the Phillies now. I feel like this is the time if you're going to do that. But when do they do that? He just pitched yesterday. He's fatigued. When you're fatigued, that's the best chance of having a small muscle tear, which you cannot afford for him to have. So how would they get that done?
What's the likelier of the two to happen? Shohei Ohtani plays in the outfield in the postseason, comes out of the bullpen, or Roki Sasaki makes the postseason roster?
Neither.
Neither. Shohei Ohtani.
Can I say neither? Because neither one of them is happening.
So he's not coming out of the bullpen. He's not playing in the outfield, and Sasaki's not making the postseason roster.
How is Roki Sasaki going to make the roster? He can't even.
He's not.
Exactly. So it's neither.
Okay.
Because they can't afford to put Shohei in a big situation if they bring him out of the bullpen unless he goes to the outfield, and you're going to have to practice in the outfield. And he hasn't done it. And he hasn't pitched out of the bullpen. They can't afford him getting hurt because he hasn't warmed up in the bullpen. To warm up and pitch. Like everyone's like, oh, make him the closer. He's never done that. He can't just miraculously be the closer.
Yeah, but you want Trey Savage on a bullpen roster in the postseason. He's never done that either. Why is it different for Savage to be in there? But I'm not
because he hasn't had two of these zippers on his arm. Because he hasn't had two zippers on his arm where they go zzz, zzz. That's why. That's the thing. He hasn't had two Tommy Johns like Shohei. Oh, I mean, one Tommy John and one. Nobody will tell us what he had the second time because they don't want to just say it. But that's why. And also Shohei's. Listen, Trey Savage. They would be careful with him, and they would use him as a bulk guy to piggyback somebody. That's what they would do. They wouldn't just say, "Hey, go throw 3 days in a row." Some closers have to throw 3 days in a row, and they're not going to do that with Shohei
until Shohei comes out.
Dave didn't rule it out, but he hasn't had any time in the outfield, so.
Right, and I can't wait to see what Dave Roberts has to say about it when he's pressed more than just like questioned about it. And until Shohei says, yes, I had internal bracing, it's a myth. In my opinion, based on Shohei, it's probably duct tape. They probably duct tape part of his elbow together, and he's like, I can play in this league with just duct tape on my elbow.
They're sticking to the script, though, gentlemen. Another 5 innings last night from Shohei. I mean, that's about all they're letting him go. I mean, you like that? You like that they're sticking to the script? I mean, is he throwing game 4? What is he doing? What is Shohei's role in the postseason for these Los Angeles Dodgers?
Go hit homers unless somebody gets hurt. And by the way, him only going 5 killed my lock last night. I'm just saying.
I'm sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
But you should know better. I mean, that's all he's been doing.
I know, but I thought last night he had 5 no-hit innings. I thought he could have at least gone out for the 6. I mean, he was pretty much cruising through that lineup. So they should have maybe stuck with him a little bit longer. But what do the Dodgers do in big games? They take their starters out too early sometimes, and then they cost them, like it did last night.
Yeah, but to be fair,
you can't
You're not having a 5-man rotation.
Okay.
The Dodgers are going to be the first team in history to have five-man rotation in the playoffs? No chance. Alanna, back me up here. They're not doing that. Snell, Glasnow, Yamamoto, and Ohtani or Kershaw maybe piggyback each other. That's the way it's going to go. There's no way that they're not going to have a 5-man rotation in a 5-game series.
They're going to carry 13.
If they get to the 5-game series, if the Mets don't beat them
13 pitchers. They're carrying 13 pitchers.
Okay.
Well, 14 technically. Because Shohei doesn't count.
Shohei doesn't count.
Yeah, that's true.
But you can't bring Yamamoto back. That first series is going to hamper. Yamamoto's never pitched.
The National League has an extra off day. You can bring Yamamoto back. You got plenty of time. In the DS.
They got the extra off day. I didn't know that.
Well, first of all, they got to get to the DS because they're going to have to play a wild card series against the Mets. Okay. And then their second series is probably going to be against the Phillies. So I'm thinking, are they going to go? They're going to go 5-man rotation in a five. Well, first of all, Yamamoto. It's going to be interesting to see who they start games 1 and 2 because if they have to go 3 games in the division series.
I didn't know about the extra off day for them because then it would play out for them. They would go Yamamoto in the wild card first game, and he'd be able to throw game 2 or maybe game 3 of the National League Division Series, which then would mean, depending on how the wild card series go, Shohei may start game 1 in Philadelphia.
Mm. I mean, yeah, because but if he only gives you, I mean, are you expecting all your starters to only give? I mean, of course you would love them to go the distance, but are you okay with 5 if each of your starter can give you?
I think it's different this year. I know I'm going against the trend of what the Dodgers have done, but in the past few years, I've seen Dave Roberts and more so their lineup make the changes to what they need to do in the playoffs. Are they going to go back to the age-old third time through, like you're going to get cooked? Maybe, but I think this year, because of the struggles recently down the stretch of the bullpen, I think they may give some of these guys a little bit of a longer leash the third time through the lineup. So I don't think they're going to go 5 and dive. I think Yamamoto.
I hope you're right. I pray that you are
right. In my
right.
opinion.
I pray that you're right, because that to me is baseball. Go as deep as long as you can, as far as you can, as deep as you can. And this bullpen is not good.
And Blake Snell is one of the best third time through. He has one of the best batting average against, or batting average on balls in play against, in all of baseball. And I feel like the Dodgers can see that, and they see that value, because right now they don't have Kenley Jansen coming out of the bullpen. They don't have Eric Gagne coming out of the bullpen. Their guys are a little bit beaten up, and so you can't get 5 or 6 innings out of them.
Yeah, they've ridden them hard all season long, until you got Glasnow back, until you got Snell back, until Yamamoto could give you something. It's been a rough road for not just the Dodgers. I understand there's been a lot of bullpens that have been ridden really hard. But even when these guys that you've paid a lot of money to, the Tanner Scotts, the Kirby Yates, all the things, I mean, they're not having good years. I mean, Tanner's really, really, really struggling this year. So I hope to goodness that they let these guys see the third time through the lineup. I really do.
They won't. They won't. They won't. They won't. They haven't. They haven't for years. So they won't.
And I can't really argue with AJ. AJ's in there on those manager meetings. He watches these games more closely than anybody because he calls these games. It's hard to say that they won't pull them after 5. They won't pull them after 6 no-hit
All right,
innings.
so what if Shohei's doing Shohei things, what he did last night, to your point of what you just said?
And why not let him go last night? It means less. Let him go last night. It means less than in a playoff game.
But if it means more, wouldn't you let him stay?
No. Shohei's the one guy.
He hasn't done it, Alanna. He hasn't done it. That's what you don't understand. The Dodgers don't do this. Rich Hill was throwing a no-hitter, and guess what they did in the playoffs?
Yeah, but that was against the Pirates, and who cares? It was the right.
They didn't win that year, but they didn't win that year.
In the middle of the season, who cares? It was against the Buckets.
No, in the playoffs that one year. Rich Hill was dominating, and they took him out.
Oh. I thought you were talking about against the Buccos, and it went into 10 innings, and the Dodgers couldn't score a run to save their lives. All right, we're going to talk about the National League West Fighting Diamondbacks when we come back, gentlemen. Don't act like you're not excited. Diamondbacks, they are surging. In case you missed it, yesterday's Fightin' Phils, the victory over the Los Angeles Dodgers, gave them a 6.5 game lead over LA. That's the number 2 seed in the NL playoff, which includes a first round bye. We know how difficult it is to play at Citizens Bank. We know how difficult the Fightin' Phils are. Are they the best team? Are you still going with Dodgers, AJ, and that rotation is better than the Phillies overall?
Yeah, until someone beats the Dodgers, they're still number 1 in my power rankings. And they'll never move. Even after they lose, I might keep them number 1 in my power rankings just for fun. But no, listen, I've said this. There's no bigger thing going right now than the Phillies and Brewers for the 1 seed in the National League and who gets home field advantage, because of the bank and what it means, Citizens Bank, and also what American Family Field means to the Brewers. The Brewers have been better on the road than the Phillies, but going to Philadelphia is a different animal, especially in the postseason. It's one of my favorite atmospheres I've ever been to for postseason games. So, listen, it means a lot if they can catch the Brewers for that. Plus, it'll make Murph's letter look bad because Because he said in the letter, you guys got the best record in baseball. If they don't end up with that, then I don't know,
Well, that letter had a lot of different interesting things. Phillies also won the series against the Dodgers, guys, giving them the tiebreaker. The Phillies are 1.5 games behind the Brew Crew, as you just mentioned, AJ, for that number 1 seed. Who's more dangerous, though? Season ends today, game starts tomorrow. I'm more worried about the Phillies than I am the Brewers.
I think the ceiling's higher for the Phillies, for sure, but keep betting against the Brewers. Keep betting against the Brewers. See how that's worked out for everybody. They figure out how to win. And I think Freddie Peralta.
Season, yes, in the regular season. Postseason,
absolutely,
different.
But I think Freddie Peralta, this is the best Freddie Peralta that we've seen.
Okay. Why? What do you like?
The fact that he's getting more strikeouts with his secondary pitches, and he actually throws. He's now gone into that like status where he'll kind of throw his fastball, yes, curveball, yeah. Guy gets on base, you're seeing a different pitch. You're seeing a lockdown heater. You're seeing him elevate that pitch a little bit more with a little bit more ride. He has another gear, and I think that is that's like the next step for when pitchers really take it to the next level. And I think it looks like he's there when I watch one of his starts.
All right. So this is an interesting thing. I know we continue to look at the NL wildcard standings, but that's why this time of year is such a blast. Because if you look at the schedule after today's game versus San Francisco, guys, it gets harder. They have 3 versus the Philadelphia Phillies, 3 versus the Los Angeles Dodgers, 3 at San Diego. So listen, it's not going to be that easy. AJ, you don't care. You guys are done with this. Like Mets are in, Diamondbacks are out.
How many times can I say the Mets are in? The Mets have a 3-game lead. They're in. I can't say it anymore, Alanna. I don't know why we keep bringing this up repeatedly.
Because like it's not mathematically.
The Diamondbacks are a nice story. They're 2 games over 500. Okay, if they had Suarez and Merrill Kelly and Josh Naylor and everyone else they could have had, would we be thinking about they might be 7 games over and be in the playoffs? But they traded everybody away. Listen, Corbin Carroll deserves a ton of credit. Ketel Marte's having a nice year for missing a bunch of time, but they're not getting in. It's going to be like last year. They might win. Well, they're not going to get to 89, but they might win 86 games and not get in because they started too little too late.
I mean, the story there, and I'll watch Diamondbacks games for the story of Corbin Carroll, what he's doing this year, and really what he's like doing as of late. I mean, you're talking about a guy of 30 homers. He's going to get 2 more bags. He's going to be a 30-30 guy. Probably now an outside chance because he hasn't had a triple in a minute to be like the last 2020 guy since Curtis Granderson and Jimmy Rollins both did it. Like, that's a feat. So the Diamondbacks story is exactly what the Diamondbacks as a team wrote at the trade deadline. You know what? All we really got left is Corbin Carroll. They didn't get rid of Gallen because he wasn't pitching very well at the time. Now he's been nails since the trade deadline. Maybe there was a little bit of pressure there. Maybe he was, feeling that like, okay, I got to perform. Now it's like, oh, I'm not getting traded. And he's settled in very nicely. But they don't have enough. It's like the Guardians in the other side. I feel like they just don't have enough to catch them. And the Mets have already had their awful stretch. So
that's
it's
the thing.
Tough to have another.
100% agree with you because I don't want the Diamondbacks to get in just to poop it out in the first round. You know what I mean? Like if you don't have enough to like go the distance, then don't get in.
And they have lost some key pieces.
You know what I mean? Like what's the point?
Yeah. Justin Martinez, Corbin Burns. I mean, Jordan Montgomery, I guess he's been out the whole year.
Jordan Montgomery was in Milwaukee the other day, by the way.
I
saw him, and I was like, why is he here? Holy crap, he's on the Brewers. I completely forgot that. I mean, he's on the Brewers, but he was traded to the Brewers.
He got traded there.
He was doing some award thing with his wife, which was great. But I was like, I said, why is Jordan Montgomery here? And they're like, oh, he's introducing himself to all of his teammates and all of the people. And I'm like, he's never even going to play here. So, I mean, is he considered part of the Brewers? If they win, does he get a ring?
He gets a ring. He gets a playoff share. And I found that out. Because there was a dude that milked the DL in IL, but it was a DL then in 18. And we didn't want to vote him a playoff share because he was just sucking money. And they said you can't unvote somebody a playoff share that's injured but is technically on their roster. So he's technically on their 40-man roster.
Have you guys ever voted any portion of a playoff share to a broadcaster of any type?
No, not a playoff share.
You guys suck so bad.
Why?
We're with you guys because we're with you the whole time.
So?
Alanna, I'm going to ask you a question.
You're not there during the playoffs, Alanna, and that's all that matters. So that's why I don't get a playoff share.
How dare you? I was with you. I was with the team every single day, even through the playoffs.
Well,
what,
the
Erik?
Dodgers could have given you a playoff share.
This is going to hurt your feelings. I'm still going to say it. Do you think the players look at Alanna Rizzo on the sideline and go, she helped us win this game?
No.
So I think that's where, like, we've voted massage therapists. We voted scouts that were never even big league scouts, like scouts in the minor leagues, playoff shares. One time I was in a meeting, a guy's name got brought up. I won't say what team it was, but he would pick like pitchers' tells. Like that was one of his job, was picking pitchers' tells. Well, obviously the pitchers, end of the season, they're like, one of the pitchers put his hand up and they were like, yeah, give him a quarter share, give him a half share. Pitcher goes, who the heck is that? He's like, I have no idea who that is. They're like, oh, it's the guy that sits next to this guy. He's like, I'm not giving him a half a share. And all the hitters were like, oh, well, he actually he found a lot of stuff. We like this guy. They're like, well, then you give him a bonus. Don't take it out of my bonus. So sorry. Never an announcer.
Broadcasters don't matter.
You want to see fights? Be in a playoff share meeting.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine how heated that gets.
And you forget people. Oh man, and you forget people, and then it's the worst. Then you feel terrible. If you forget people.
It's life-changing for a lot of like a bullpen catcher or whatever. You know what? There's like folks that it's absolutely life-changing for. So you got to do your due diligence. And sideline reporter is apparently not one of those folks. All right, coming back, we're gonna get into.
I've done some Dodger games this year. If they win a World Series, do I get a playoff share? Because I did like 3 games.
But you're not with them every single day, though. I'm talking about like every single day. I was with them, like a sideline reporter, like a Julia Morales of the Astros, or a Sophia Minnaert of the Brewers, or like people that are there every single. Even though National comes in and takes over the postseason games, they're still there doing their jobs, doing all those things. So I'm not talking about like random folks that just come in and cover 4 games of the season. Yes, I get a ring, but I'd rather have the money.
No, that ring is super. Like you
I'm
can
sorry.
show it off.
Between a ring that's in a safe because it's too big for me to wear, or a playoff share, I'm taking the playoff share, guys. Come on now.
You can't show off your money. You can show off your ring.
Oh, you can show off money. You can show off money. All right.
And I mean this with all, Alanna. I mean this with all due respect. What was that Kanye song? I ain't saying she a gold digger. Wait, what?
Gold digger? I didn't do it for free.
You just said you want the money. You just said you want all the money.
I do want the money, but it's not like I didn't work
and after
for it.
18 years.
Drives off with the kids.
Years. After 18
Drive off
years.
in a Hyundai. You ain't seen Alanna in Sacramento. Alanna's not in Sacramento. Boston, L.A. Okay, Alanna.
That's right. You better believe it, suckers. All right, Shayna Rubin, good luck with this crew. She's covering the Giants. She's joining us in a few minutes. We're going to be right back. All right, the free game of the day. It is a good one today. I love this. Philadelphia at Los Angeles. It's a 10:10 p.m. Eastern start. It's the MLB free game of the day, streaming on the BetMGM app. Live streaming is available to all BetMGM customers who are logged in and have funded accounts. All right, so Tuesday we check out our locks, and guess what? We are all losers. Every single one of us is a big fat loser. I took San Francisco beating the Giants. They did not. Shohei Ohtani over 5.5 Ks and the Yankees money line. So AJ lost. And Kratz lost too over in terms of 5.5 Ks as well. So sorry about that, guys. Money bags. I am down to 70. Pap is the only one that's up. He's up 220. AJ is down 231, and Erik, you are down over $1,000. Erik is down $1,092. So that's not good, guys. See, I need the money. I need the playoff share. I am down.
You said how much I was down twice, Alanna. Okay, I can tell you're all about the cash. You're all about the cash. I get it.
That's right.
All
Locks
right.
of the day.
I'll go first.
Okay,
I'll go first. I have Hurston Waldrop going over 5 or more strikeouts. Okay. He's done it every start except for 2. And the Nats are going to definitely get me 5. And DeGrom has hit 6 or more strikeouts in 9 of his last 15 starts. And they need this start from him. I see him getting way over 5.5. You parlay those together, it's plus 201. I'm putting 300 down to win $603.
All right, I love that for you. Whatever that means, good for you. And AJ, what is your lock of the day?
I'm also going Hurston Waldrop over 4.5 punch-outs, and I'm taking the lock that should be the lock of all locks. The Yankees are going to beat the Twins, and you know what? That gets me to plus 194.
Have you not bet the same damn thing every day? The Yankees beating the Twins?
Because it's like, look at the record, Alanna. It's like you should bet this every day. The fact that they lost a game definitely means they're winning the next 2. Because they lost 1 to the Twins. That happens like once every 3 years. So, yeah, of course.
Okay. Fair enough. Calm down.
This is the worst Twins team in the last 3 years when they were still beating.
All right. Shayna Rubin, San Francisco Giants beat reporter for the Chronicle, joins us next. Hi, Shayna. Good to be with you. Thanks so much for being with us. Shayna Rubin. You can find her on X at Shayna Rubin. That's ShaynARubin. She just wrote the Giants are losing ground fast and running out of games to catch up. I tell you what, you're absolutely right. The calendar is not in their favor. What do you say? Do they get in or not?
I mean, they're running out of time, and they kind of lost their opportunity here against some division foes. So it feels like a miracle needs to happen for them to crack the wild card. And the Mets won yesterday. They've got the Arizona Diamondbacks breathing down their back. They got the Cincinnati Reds also in there. So it's the room is closing in on them. And they're not really playing their best ball. They have a very taxed pitching staff, and it just feels less and less likely, especially just given the 4-game losing streak they're on right now.
Because this team was built not on, in my opinion, not on superstars, like as far as like everybody can hit the ball so well and everything besides Rafi, besides, almost 30 homers by Willie. Did it feel like the winds went out of the sail when they went back-to-back games, Logan Webb and Robbie Ray, their 2 aces, their 2 best pitchers, and they gave up 11 runs combined between the 2 of them?
Yeah, it feels like there was a major momentum shift because the offense was really powering through the last couple of weeks, and that's really what powered them through the winning stretch that they were on. Rafi Devers was smashing the ball. Willie Adames was following suit. Everyone else was kind of following suit when Devers sort of caught fire a little bit, and I think that they were really riding the high of what their offense can potentially do. So you were seeing not only glimpses of, this is what the team can look like if they really make a run at the postseason, but also a glimpse of what the team can look like next year at their best. So there was sort of a lot of hope riding high on how capable they looked over a couple series, and the wind definitely sort of got knocked out when the pitching staff, the workload from the bullpen and the starting rotation started to catch up to them, and it caught up to them at the worst time against the Dodgers. And I think that right now you're sort of seeing the trickle down of that.
Do you feel like this team was built to 100% win this year? This is Buster Posey's first year, and Buster would never say, oh, I would never concede a season. That's just not who he is. He wasn't like that as a player. But until they had gotten Rafi, and obviously you get Rafi Devers, you're like, hey, we're going to win. Do you think they were really built to win this year, or do you feel like this is kind of a little bit of an overachievement? And going into next year, now we're going to make that final piece that's going to push us across the finish line.
Yeah, I think you sort of nailed it there. I think obviously they're never going to say, this is a discovery year for us, so we're trying to sort of hone in on our identity. But they came into the season a completely different organization. They have a completely different guy in charge, completely different guys in charge. So even though they're going to say we want to win and this is a winning year and we want to contend, and they spent in a way that is meant to contend, I think that what we're seeing now and the ups and downs and the significant trade on June 13th to get Devers and some of the trades at the deadline to reconfigure their bullpen, which was their strongest suit when they were winning, you're seeing that they were competing, even though had significant ups and downs, but they're also an underlying purpose of finding their identity, finding out who they want to be next year, sort of rounding into a more complete team. And even though right now they're in a little bit of a skid, it feels like, and the fans notice it too, they're showing up a little bit more than they were last year. I think that they're starting to become more of an identity that maybe will look a little more clear heading into the off season and maybe next year.
You forgot that they had a 4-0 lead last night also, Shayna, by the way, and lost that. So let's not forget that. But what is their identity? What you're saying, it's become clear. What's their identity? What is it? Is it Rafi Devers and 8 other guys and Willie Adames? Like, what is it? Is it Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, and Justin Verlander next year? What is their identity? Because they traded away a lot of their bullpen. They've made some moves. They have some aging veteran starters. What is their identity for the years going forward?
Yeah, it's interesting because it's pretty clear going into the year, the proclaimed identity was that they're a pitching and defense team, and they kind of shifted more towards, we got more power and thump in the heart of the lineup, and there's some good defensive players, but I wouldn't say that that's been the identity of this team at all. I think that, you have Matt Chapman, who's probably one of the best, if not the best, third baseman in baseball. You got one of the best, Patrick Bailey, best catcher in baseball, but a lot of what went wrong had to do with sort of the missteps in fundamentals, and the pitching staff, they have a pretty good 1-2-3, but in the rotation, but they went through a lot of transformations in the bullpen, and a lot of the young pitching didn't really live up to, with the exception of Landon Roop, didn't live up to expectation. So the pitching and defense identity seems to be a little bit more in flux, and it seems like that's not to say that they don't have a lot of good options. They can always add some pitching, but it feels like there's more of an emphasis on the offense, the bats, and having sort of a more powerful offense than maybe it seemed that they were letting on that they wanted to have. So it's right now it feels like they go when their offense goes. They go when Devers goes. They go when Adames and Chapman and maybe Jung Hoo goes. So it feels like that's where the momentum is swinging, is maybe, and I say the identity is getting clearer. Maybe it's just sort of, we're starting to see more of what the Posey front office is looking to direct next year towards.
So these last 2 weeks, these last 11 games, are we going to be able to tell how they're going to use Bryce Eldred next year? Because
I don't know.
He sat against a lefty. No, he sat against a lefty last night. This guy's supposed to be the most elite power prospect that the Giants have ever had. Ever. More than Brandon Bell. More than any of these guys. And he sits in his second game in the big leagues against Eduardo Rodriguez. Not like he's not sitting against Chris Sale.
Right. Yeah, I think what we're seeing now is probably not what they want to envision for Bryce Eldridge in the future. I mean, he kind of came up in a situation where Dom Smith went down with a hamstring injury. They needed someone to take over his role, which is, left-handed bat, another left-handed bat infielder. He's not going to play first base to our understanding, but I think that what we're seeing right now, I think the future Bryce Eldridge, they would not want him to be sitting against left-hander. They see him as a future cornerstone of the franchise. So if that's the case, then that's what we're seeing right now is definitely not what we would see next year if and when he makes the team.
Shayna, when you think of cornerstones of the Giants, I always used to think, of course, and I still do to a certain extent, of Buster Posey. And I just don't feel like this team has been the same since Buster Posey was not behind catching balls and guiding a pitching staff and doing what he does offensively as well. I mean, are they still kind of searching for that? It's kind of like the Cardinals with Yadier Molina, right? When Yadi decided to retire, are they still searching for that quintessential starting catcher that just kind of leads the way that Buster did?
Yeah, I think that it's not only just a starting catcher, but a leader in general. I think they're looking for I think every team ideally would like to have a player like Buster where they're the star of the show. They're the face of the franchise. It's a young, homegrown player that everyone can latch on to from the time they get called up to the time that they potentially lead them to greatness. That's sort of the dream situation. And I think that the pursuit of Rafael Devers was the front office's acknowledgement that they want to have not necessarily just a leader, but someone that is compelling in the same way that Buster Posey was compelling and that team was compelling. Buster says he said they want to recreate the memory making business. I think it's just they want to get people excited about a star player playing at their home ballpark again. That hasn't really happened since Buster retired. So I think that's where the conversation with Bryce Eldridge comes in. There's this sort of underlying hope or expectation that he or anybody can be the guy to take that torch that no one's been able to take since the glory years of the early 2010s. And so I think that there's some frustration from fans when they see Eldridge come up and sit against a lefty. It's like, hey, I thought this guy was supposed to be, the guy. I thought this is the beginning of the beginning. And we're starting to see this team take off with its young core and a young superstar leading the way. But I think what we're seeing now is a more tempered, they're trying to win the week and fill the roles that they need to fill to get there. And so that's what we're seeing now. But I think that overall there's a hunger to get the guy fill the role that Posey filled for so many years.
Yeah, he's definitely hard to replace. There's no question about that. Do you see any reason in which Bob Melvin would not be at the helm next season for the San Francisco Giants?
I think at one time it felt pretty possible or on the table, just given the rise and the fall and the utter collapse. And I think that when you are playing as bad as they were a couple weeks ago, it has to be part of the conversation, and it definitely was. I think it's always on the table, but I wouldn't say one way or the other if that's the case or not.
Does Buster Posey have the ability to debunk the narrative of free agents not signing in San Francisco? I know they got Willy Adames. Willy Adames didn't have anybody else that was courting him like that. Does he have the ability to get past that feeling that people just for some reason think of San Francisco, but like Chapman, he re-signed when he's there. He's loved it. Willy Adames loves, nobody that plays there is like, man, I hate it. It's all the people coming in on free agencies that we heard. It was like, I don't know. I don't want to play in San Francisco because it'll hurt my offensive stats. Can he change that and land a big free agent? Because the Giants have money for it.
Yeah, I think that there is potentially a change in that trend because of Posey himself. And you've heard Adames, even though his options maybe weren't as expansive as you might think, he was talking about how swayed he was by the fact that Buster Posey was the one selling him on San Francisco. And even Justin Verlander's talked about it. He talked to me about how when he was sitting down with Buster, he felt like this guy really understands how to communicate with a baseball player, and this guy really understands how to sell me on this experience. And so I think that there's something to, and we have the proof will be in the pudding, but I think there's something to the idea that maybe having Buster, a former player that a lot of these guys are very familiar with, either played against or just watched growing up, having a guy like that not just sell the concept of San Francisco, which I guess it can be hard to sell in some circumstances, but sell the concept of playing for him and playing for a team that, and a front office that understands what they want. And so I think that if anything, that would be their advantage to landing one of those free agents is having Buster, the former player, sell them on the idea.
Go ahead, AJ.
Kratzy, go first.
My question is on Justin Verlander. He came in maybe like the outside chance of getting closer to that 300 win plateau to see if he'd play another year. It didn't happen this year. 3 wins isn't going to do it, but his ERA is now below a 4. Day in and day out, you see this guy. Does it seem like there's another year, probably not in a Giants uniform, for Justin Verlander in Major League Baseball?
I would say so. I think that even just the way that you've seen him pitch in the last few weeks, he has a clear fire and a clear ability to pitch at a high level still. I think that a lot of people are looking at the record as an indication of what the inevitable retirement or the inevitable decline, but that's mostly just to do with the fact that he's seeking 300. I think that he's had a couple really rough stretches, but his last couple months, he's arguably been, one of their best starters. And I would be, he hasn't given any declarative, definitive answers one way or the other to us, but I would be surprised if this was it for him.
I think he's going to play forever.
I think he wants to.
Go ahead, AJ.
And he has a lot to chase too.
He does. 300 wins is important. Shayna, you're at the ballpark? I'm guessing right now by your background.
I am. Yes.
Can you just take your computer and move it a little bit, because that's the one ballpark I've never done a game in. So I actually want to know what the press box looks like.
Oh, I'm in a printer room.
Okay. Well, you show me that, because that's more than I've ever seen of Chase Field. So if you could just
you've never seen
pan
Chase
the camera.
Field? This is the essence of Chase Field.
All right. Looks cozy.
Beautiful.
All right.
Okay. Cozy. We're cozy in here.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely doesn't have the view of San Francisco's field. I'll tell you that right now. So
no, it's a little bit different vibe here, that's for sure. Not bad. It's just different.
Yeah, very different. It's a dry heat. Remember that, Shayna. We appreciate it very much. We appreciate the insight. Good luck the rest of the way. Hopefully, we'll be talking San Francisco in the postseason. According to AJ, it's not going to happen. The Mets are in, but time will tell. Shayna Rubin, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us on Foul.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, coming up, we are slapping hands next. Guys, Pap is sick today, so he's not doing his normal soundbite throwing to it about his pick, but he did pick the San Diego money line at plus 125. So Pap, get better, heal that voice. We already heard AJ's and Erik's lock of the day. Mine is just Philadelphia beats the Dodgers again, plus 125 on the money line. I'm just going for the sweep. That way they can just get it out of their system and the Dodgers can bounce back at some point. So yeah, did anybody want to do Pap's pick like in Pap's voice? AJ, why don't you try it?
No, I'm good. I can't. Here's the pick. Tennessee rolls Mississippi State this weekend. That's Pap's pick this weekend. That's my pick for the weekend.
My people at FT, Mississippi State gets rolled. All the people at the desk. Yo, I'm hearing some like crazy. I wish he would have done it like super sick. We could have seen Pap not all beamed out on Cuban coffee.
Oh, I don't think Pap's drinking Cuban coffee, Erik. I think you know what Pap's drinking when he does these these bets that come in. Oh,
no,
Pap,
tell us, Alanna. Tell us. We're on YouTube. You can tell us what he is.
Well, it's funny because when we do Unobstructed Views on Nesson, Pap's at home in the sip. He's at home in the sip, and myself and Jared Carabas are in the studio at Nesson, and Pap's the only one of the three of us drinking. Let's put it that way.
Cuban coffee. Right. I get it.
Stuff on rocks, and it's not Cuban coffee. All right. BetMGM players will receive an MLB Parlay Boost token. To use the token, add a parlay wager made up of entirely Major League Baseball bets to your bet slip and activate the token. Score extra winnings if your wager that was made with the Parlay Boost token wins. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Time now to slap hands, and this is where we're at in life. Tim Healy had this to say. Alex Cora said on WEEI that Roman Anthony walked on the treadmill for 25 minutes. His oblique is still sore. Yesterday, he told me it was a great walk, Cora said. This is where we're at, you guys. I mean, Roman Anthony obviously was such a jolt for that Red Sox team, and now they are behind the Houston Astros as far as that wild card spot is concerned. This is not good, AJ. Obliques, hamstrings are tricky. Calves, you mentioned it. This stinks.
Yeah, it does. It stinks for the Red Sox. They need him back. That'd be a nice piece to have to get back. And it stinks he went down. But get better. Hopefully he get better quick. They can heal quick too, though. I'll say that. But the problem is can you get enough swings somehow? Because you got to get some game-like swings before you come back from this because you don't want to have it happen again.
Kratz, did you have oblique issues ever?
No.
Oh, that's good.
I did something to my rib one time, and I know that hurt, but that was like more like intercostal, like upper oblique. I've just seen guys deal with it. I don't know. Let's put it this way. I think they're 6-10 or 5-9 since he has gone on the IL.
Yeah. They definitely have a losing record without him. There's no question about it. But then you're having, you want your postseason chances hanging on the balance of a 21-year-old. I mean, that's not enough. All right, Kratz hats. What do you got? I'm going with Tennessee Orange, Tennessee Volunteers.
If I had some college hats, I would wear them.
Houston Astros.
The Astros need to turn it around. I'm not saying they're going to get caught, but they need to turn it around. And what do they always do?
Turn it around.
They
turn it around. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure being with you both today. We appreciate it. We are back tomorrow. Dodgers territory does not follow us today. What we're doing is a post-game tonight. So myself and Clint Pasillas will be taking post-game Phillies, Dodgers, game 3 of that series. Dodgers looking to avoid the sweep. And by the way, Dansby Swanson of the Chicago Cubs joining us tomorrow. Justin Turner of the Cubs joining us on Friday. So for Erik Kratz, AJ Pierzynski, our entire Foul Territory crew, thanks for being with us. We will see you mañana. Bye, guys.
Will you tell Clint that you chose the Phillies to win the final game of the series on Dodgers territory?
I will. I mean, I told the world, so sure. Yes, I will.